Just about race time in Portland, Oregon. The Portland Intrasquad meet. Noting not on the screen will be the pace setter, the American record holder Shelby Houlihan. Will be pacing Elise Cranny, Colleen Quigley, and Carissa Schweitzer as we put this race into context.
Oh man, I'm getting nervous.
You're allowed to be nervous. We can be nervous up here. Only 7 American women have ever broken 4 minutes at 1,500 meters. One of them, and the best of them all on the American all-time list, will be the pace setter in Shelby Houlihan. What a cool way to set the stage for perhaps another equally magical moment here at Jesuit High School, 10 days removed from an American record in the women's 5,000 meters set by Houlihan.
It's so exciting.
Did I frame that okay?
Yeah. I can't wait to see what they can do.
To the line, the women's 1,500. So Houlihan, Schweitzer, Cranny, and Quigley. 64 seconds, the prescribed pace, as they immediately get themselves into single file order, and Houlihan looks to her watch and tries to get dialed in. You've done some pace setting, I assume. Is there like an internal clock you have, or how do you gauge the pace?
Yeah, it's funny. I think there's a different type of nerves with pace setting. You definitely, especially when you're trying to lead people to PRs, you definitely don't want to mess it up. And the big thing is not going out too fast. And with someone like Shelby has such speed that you want to rein in your impulse to just like go out the first. And I think it was pretty perfect.
Yeah, about 48 seconds as they cross that line, and Shalane Flanagan right there calling out the splits at that point in the race. And they do have the benefit of Jerry, Shalane, and other members of the Bowerman Truck Club coaching staff, but this is the key here. 64 seconds is what we're looking for coming through the first 400 meters. And right on that, it looks like, as they make their way down the backstretch for the second time. It's still Houlihan, again, the pace setter. And then Schweitzer, Cranny, and Quigley.
They look great. They're all in line. No one's wasting any energy right on the rail.
And if you're Cranny or Quigley, are you just eyes on the back of the runner ahead of you?
Yeah, at this point, you just want to be turning your mind off. You're trusting Shelby's going to do an amazing job, which she is, trying to conserve as much energy as possible.
Everyone looking smooth here as they'll come to the start-finish line with 2 laps to run.
Shelby looks great also. She should just stay in it.
152 unofficially. And now officially 152.14, 64.86 on that full complete lap from the start-finish line back to the finish line. Now they'll come through 800 meters, 2:08.
Perfect.
On the mark, as these ladies try to attack the sub-4 minute mark in the women's 1,500 meters. Again, only 7 American women have ever gone under that time. Lap and a half to go.
They look great. They're all still right there.
So as we saw 10 days ago, Houlihan and Schweitzer 1 and 2 as they were in the 5,000. However, on this night, it will be the American record holder Houlihan giving way to the trio behind her. And she has done her job here coming to the line.
Oh man, it's so hard not to cheer. I just want to cheer for them.
2:56 at the bell.
Carissa looks incredible.
Yeah, now has made that move, and Houlihan's going to carry him through that 1,200 meters. 3:13 with 300 to go. A little bit of daylight now between Schweitzer and Quigley, and Cranny trying to stay in it.
Oh, Chris looks so good right now. We were just talking about this is what Jerry's training does. You're able to just hold that pace and just power through.
3:28 with a half lap to go, and look at the distance now as Schweitzer is rolling through these last 200 meters.
Oh man, I want to cheer.
Off the final turn, less than 100 meters to go. Schweitzer sustaining that speed. Quigley trying to stay within maybe 20 meters as we watch the clock looking for a sub 4 minute performance, and it will be right on the mark.
Sorry.
And officially 4:00:02 for Carissa Schweitzer. 62.84 on that last lap as she comes oh so close to that sub 4 minute mark, but she does now join the ranks of the top 10 all-time Americans.
Sorry if I just screamed into the mic. Hopefully someone can cut that out.
Now number 8 all-time on the list in 4:00:02, and Quigley 4:03:98, just about a second off her PR, and Cranny third in 4:07:94. I mean, that's the risk and reward. It was a beautifully set up race, and I mean, under the conditions, it's warm. The winds have basically died here, but a little bit of wind, can't get much closer to breaking 4 than 2/100ths of a second.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Yeah, again, and Carissa, it was basically an exactly even race. I think the one thing is that she didn't have anyone there pushing her, and it's like you wonder, again, this is where when she gets into a fast race, when there's someone there pushing you, that she goes under. I mean, I think the thing with Carissa also is she's 23 years old, and it just like there is so much more to her in the coming years, and it's going to be really exciting to see.
Well, if you look at the list of Americans ahead of her now on this all-time U.S. list, obviously Houlihan, the American record holder, Shannon Rowberry, Mary Slaney, Jenny Simpson, Susie Hamilton, Anna Willard, who was very talented in her day, setting her mark of 3:59:38 back in 2009, and Kristen Worth-Thomas, the only other one to have gone under 4 minutes. She sits there right ahead of Morgan Usini now with another lifetime best of oh so close, 4:00:06.
I didn't realize Morgan Usini didn't go under 4 minutes. No, that's not true. Really?
According to my trusty stat book. And it says here that you have Grant Fisher, Ryan Hill, Evan Jagger, Woody Kincaid, Lopez Lamong, Sean McGordy, and Mark Spa. I hope Kate will come back. I think I may have offended her with.
No, she's she's an athlete. She's a competitor, but I don't think she holds any grudges.
Well, I'm not going to mention it with her on the mic though. But someone did note that Carissa now has passed her on the U.S. all-time list in the women's 1500. But she said she wasn't. If she was in the race, it wouldn't have happened. So that's an interesting take.
Yeah, no, you have to bring that that level of confidence when you're at this level. So we'll see what happens next year.
So getting set here for the men's 1500. Again, 9 men. You having transitioned to the roads and the marathon distance, as you look at a 1500, I mean, can you put yourself back in that mindset? A lot of these guys are coming way down in distance, not necessarily where they're most comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for an athlete like Chris Derrick, who spent a lot of time on the roads, this is going to be quite the shock to his system. Yeah, he's going to be feeling it early and often in a race like this, so we'll see how he holds up as we get going here.
Lopez Lamong on the inside. 9 men to toe the line in the men's 1500. And Lopez getting after it as he will be the assigned pace setter here, 57 to 58 second subscribed pace. And as we mentioned, that was the lap for Mo on that last trip around the track at 5,000. So we'll see how the speed works out here tonight, but they're all in single file as they begin to work themselves down the main straightaway. Men's 1,500 meters here at Jesuit High. About 42 seconds for the first 300 meters. Again, 57, 58 seconds when we get them back to the start of that 1,500 meters. And right there, 56 point, I would say, as they go down the back straightaway for the second time. And you mentioned it, with Chris Derrick having a chance to come back on the track. He is trailing this group right now, trying to stay in it, but the pack of 8 now beginning to break away. Jaeger is in that 8 spot just behind Woody Kincaid. And then Ryan Hill. And moving back to the front of the pack with McGordy behind Lamong, with Ahmed, Fisher, and Mark Scott. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, and Sean looks really good to me today. He's looked really nice over the last few weeks, and I think he's really showing that he has some wheels at 1500, and obviously he just PR'd in the 5K a couple weeks ago as well. So I think it will come down to possibly Sean and Mo at the very end here. I guess we'll see if Grant or Evan has something to say about that, or Ryan Hill. But right now, it looks like Sean and Mo are pretty comfortable up front.
Lifetime best for McGordy at this distance, 3:36.61, set in Belgium back in 2018. The 2018 NCAA champion at 5,000 meters and a U.S. champion in the cross-country discipline back in 2014. He sits right behind the pace setter Lamong, Ahmed, Fisher. Now Ryan Hill moving up on the outside shoulder of Scott, moving into what is effectively 4th behind the pace setter. 1 lap to go, about 2:42 on the clock with a lap to go.
And these guys are fortunate to have a pacemaker that's taken them all the way to 1,200 meters. That's unusual to have world-class pacemakers that are staying in that long. Normally you get lucky to get 800 or 1,000 meters in Europe.
Grant Fisher looking to go fast. His lifetime best, 3:39.60, set way back. Oh, it seems like 20 years ago, but it was only a year ago at Peyton Jordan. But we've been missing those kind of events all year long, and he's trying to stay with it now, currently in 2nd. But Mo Ahmed trying to do back-to-back victories here at the Portland Intrasquad. He set a new lifetime best, new Canadian record, new area record in the 5,000 meters. And look at the speed he has coming back and down in distance. And as he is going to run away from the rest of the field and take the victory, 3:35.15 unofficially for Mo Ahmed. And that is a new lifetime best, as he definitely shows the same type of speed we had him in at that 5,000 meter distance. 3:34.89 officially for him. Mark Scott, 3:35.93. That's a new lifetime best by almost 7 seconds. And Grant Fisher also with a new lifetime best, 3:36.23. Evan Jaeger finishing in a respectable 4th, 3:36.31, as you now see the results cycling through 1 to 9.
Yeah, and I feel like that further serves notice for Mo to PR by that much in the 1,500 just 10 days after that huge run that he had at 5,000. So, when he ran 12:58, I believe he had not broken 3:40 yet for 1,500. So now that he's run 12:47, he just lowered his PB to 3:34. So that's a nice jump, and again, I think will only serve him at 5,000 and 10,000 meters next year in Tokyo.
Sort of thinking is what these athletes obviously need, and have another one here and another race here coming up on the track in this second heat of the women's 1,500 meters. From the outside in, Muriel Hall, Gwen Jorgensen, Courtney Frericks, and the pace setter Shelby Houlihan. It would be fun if we could just crowdsource, like a bonus for her just to win the race as the pace setter. So maybe kind of a new way to approach some of this racing. But, again, impressive performance in pacing the first race, in which Carissa Schweitzer came within 0.02 of a second of becoming the 8th woman to go under 4 minutes at 1,500. Still a phenomenal performance given the heat here, and as we get this race underway, women's 1,500. Talk about the heat a little bit. I mean, 800, 1,500. Is the race too fast to to notice it, or is it something hard to ignore? I guess it depends on maybe like heat index more than just heat.
Yes, it does, but I think it also does. It changes basically from the 4 to the 8 to the 15. I think 4 and 8, the heat can be helpful. 8, it maybe depending on how hot it is, can start to, let's see, she's going out pretty even. But yeah, I mean the 15, you can start to feel the heat. You just don't want, you don't want to overheat on the warm up. So a lot of the tricks people use is to make sure that they are warming up, but also keeping their core temperature relatively cool. We do ice vests. You can do slushy, like if you drink something cold, that can help. Luckily, the sun's down, so that I think is taking a little bit of the edge off.
About 48, 49 seconds as they cross the line here for the first time. And we'll reach the start line of the 1,500 meters. We'll get the first lap split of the evening for this race. And right about 65, 66. So as prescribed, she's, hey, she may have a future in pace setting. You know, I wouldn't suggest she move to that directly, but
yeah, I think she has a future in track first. But yes, I totally agree. She's great.
Well, those internal clocks are so important. One of the folks on our staff here at USATF.tv and Runner Space is Matt Shearer, a former All-American at the University of Oregon, became a very sought-after pace setter at the 800-meter distance because he seemed to have an internal clock. And he's always on time for meetings, so it has transferred well into his professional career. Onto the main straightaway they come here. This will be 2 laps to go when they reach the finish line. Gwen Jorgensen now falling off a little on the pace. Ahead of her, Muriel Hall. Courtney Frericks looks good and solid and is chasing the American record holder, our pace setter, Shelby Houlihan. 1:55 with 2 laps to run.
Yeah, definitely you see the same deal this time, that everyone kind of got right into place. Courtney and Muriel just kind of, they're both on the rail. They're not going to do any extra running. They're just focusing on Shelby right now, letting her do the work as much as possible. They're still running.
2:11, 2:12, the last completed lap to the finish line where we have our timing for splits was a 65.90 lap. Now with a lap and a half to go, it is down to Houlihan, Frericks, and Muriel Hall. Hall looking very good coming down in distance. And again, she's looking to take down a lifetime best of 4:12.14 set back in 2017. That well within sight here as Carissa Schweitzer does a little cheerleading at the top of the final turn as they come down the main straightaway for the final time.
You know, they both look really good. And this is, so that means that her PR was set before Jerry. Marielle's was. She joined at the same time I did at the end of 2017.
So 3:04 and change with the bell sounding. So we officially describe that as PJ era, pre-Jerry. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And Houlihan once again will step aside at 1,200 meters, but is still running on the track. 3:20 or so, I think, catching that 1,200-meter split. But Frericks, Paul losing a little bit.
I know, just hold on there. Yeah, Courtney looks great. She came in here with a mission. She knows that she's in shape, again, with that 5K that she just ran. She wants to show it with her 15, bring her 15 PR down.
So watch the clock on the screen as Frericks comes down the main straightaway. Her best of 4:11.05. She should get under that. Now the question is by how much? The clock ticks to 4. Hall.
Oh my gosh, both of them. This is a...
And Frericks easily under her lifetime best, 4:07.60. Hall will be under her best, and Shelby Houlihan jogs into third in like 4:10, 4:11. And Jorgensen, remember, she was trying to get that lifetime best down from 4:21, and I bet she does that as well. We'll wait for it officially, and indeed, it is now a new lifetime best, 4:19.57, as she breaks her lifetime best more than 13 years from her previous lifetime best when she did that in college at the University of Wisconsin. Everybody goes home a winner as the carnival.
PRs for everybody.
Yeah, you get a PR and you get a PR.
I guess not Shelby, but Shelby gets extra points for being exactly on pace.
Yeah, I know we have to do that officially because she was the pace setter, but she really did finish, and I suspect her time was, maybe a second or two behind Muriel Hall. But once again, just a wonderful night. Jerry seems happy, and And obviously the performances here, again, this is, and again, when you do this in a year that's been unlike any other, it shows the program's working. It shows that you've been able to stay on track, because it's a two-way street. You can have a good coach, but you have to respond and deliver. So.
No, 100%. That's what Jerry was all about this year. It's fun. It's also interesting with these meets because it's just this team. You get shots of Jerry where usually he's known for never having. He doesn't like pictures taken. You kind of it's hard to get a photo of Jerry. When I first met him, I had to Google him, and I wasn't quite sure. I actually thought it was Pascal because I only had a picture of him and Pascal together, and so I wasn't sure who was who. But anyway, his big thing.
We all have ourselves set up. We'll just keep everyone here at the microphone. We can talk through these next races. You'll see the start list. Same 9 men who competed at 1,500 meters. Again, won by Mo in a new lifetime best for him. As we get down into what effectively is a sprint race for distance runners, how would you handicap this one?
I feel that for many of the athletes, like you said, it's going to be flat out from the gun. I mean, someone like Lopez Lamong, who has a background in 800 meters, is going to be with a distinct advantage over anyone else in the field. I mean, Mo just ran a 3:34 1,500, so he's probably a little bit tired, I would think. Even for a guy who just ran 12:47, I would think a 3:34 might sting the legs a little bit. But I'll be really interested what some of these young guys can do. What can Grant Fisher run for 600 meters? What can Sean McGorty run? I mean, these guys, haven't run a lot of shorter distances in their collegiate careers, and they're new pros, and it'll just be really fascinating to see what they look like basically opening up fully in a 600 meter race.
Yeah, 600 meters, much more a distance we'd see in the 800 meter runner space.
I know I should be in this race, or not this race, but
you could be
maybe
in this
actually
race.
In this race.
You could be competitive.
No.
Kate, I was thinking this track meet is built for you.
I know.
It's kind of all of your the things that you're really good at. So I'm sorry that you're not out there. I'm sorry that you're up here with us. But also thankful for your company too.
No, it's fun to be here, and you're right. The only thing I would say is that it's classic Jerry. There's not a ton of time in between races, but I guess that's always what the 4x4s are. You always have to run a 4x4 on tired legs.
Well, just for fun, let's tell you that the American record in this event is Johnny Gray's 1:12.81. If you're keeping score at home, I'll take the over, but it should be a good race, and that really is what we're here for at this. Coming back, every one of them from 1,500. Now we go a lap and a half. So Mo goes right out to the front ahead of Lamong, Jager, and Fisher. Woody Kincaid, who PR'd along with Fisher in that 1,500. And then McGorty now coming up on side shoulder of Kincaid. Just one lap to go, about 30 seconds on that first half lap.
So I don't have inside info, but that's pretty slow for a 600 meter effort. I suspect that Jerry gave them instructions to go out slow and build each 100 meters, maybe closing the last 200 hard. So I guess we'll see if they actually are going to race it over this last 200.
Yeah, it looks like it's picked up.
Well, sources close to the administration on conditions of anonymity have given us now what looks to be a good setup for a fast finish to this race. Now become quickly a 4-man battle here up in front as they come down the main straightaway. Lamong. And they'll go stride for stride at the end, and Lamong, as Bumby said, probably the favorite going into this race, holds serve and wins at 600 meters.
That was an impressive showing by Sean. Good speed at the end there to be kind of holding serve there with Lopez over as you mentioned, over the last 100 meters. And Lopez definitely had to dig to get over the line first.
I thought Sean was going to get him.
1:22.04, the winning time for Lamong. 1:22.17. Time for McGordy, finishing in second for this men's 600.
So that actually would have been a good race to be in. No, maybe not toward the end.
And a big sigh of relief from Johnny Gray, wherever he's watching at home. His record is safe. Evan comes through in third. So, top four guys all within a second of each other, made for good racing. And, we get so fixated so often in our sport about, this is the fastest since, sliced bread. And racing and good racing is just as entertaining. So nice to see something that was more just a good old-fashioned foot race down the final stretch.
Yeah, I think
what's going to happen here.
All right, for giggles, 1:22.39, American record of Ajay Wilson. No sense of that, just to give you perspective. I mean, this is a race typically run much more at the indoor circuit than outdoors. Ajay ran that time outdoors back in 2017. Here now, 7 of the Bowerman Track Club women to step to the line for a 600-meter run.
Ladies, on your marks. Good thing we have a lot. Let's go, ladies! Go, ladies!
Leave it to the experts to state the obvious. The speed here coming out of the first 50 meters or so, just about what we saw from the men on their side. So setting this up for just a good old-fashioned race among a very talented pool of runners. And Carissa Schweitzer coming back from that 1,500 meters leads Elise Cranny, Houlihan, Hall, Frericks, Quigley, and Jorgensen. 1 lap to go.
I still love to see what they can do when they drop the hammer. And that's, I think, what was really fun with Shelby when she was in 1,500 meters and in 5Ks. She goes off like a rocket.
Yeah, I mean, in this sense, you could see this as a good tactical race experience for her, kind of putting yourself in a scenario. You're in a race here with less than 300 meters to run. She is sitting in third. Frericks moving up on the outside of Hall, now challenging for fourth, but it's still Schweitzer in the lead, Cranny on the inside, and guess who's found the next gear? That is Shelby Houlihan to the lead.
But they're holding with her. Oh, no, there she goes.
Off the final turn, less than 100 meters to go, and Shelby Houlihan does what Shelby Houlihan always does, finds that gear and the speed, and after pacing 1,500 meters, wins the 600 meters here at Jesuit High School.
I'm curious for their 400 split.
Yeah, and I think like you mentioned before, I think it's just great practice. I think you don't oftentimes get to simulate the end of a race in practice, and only running the last 150 or 200 hard enables you to kind of experience what it feels like at the end of the race without having to use up a full race effort.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it looks like she really turned it on there with 150 and then even at the 100, which is, I guess, her kind of classic move.
So there are the final results. Houlihan, the winner, in 1:32.27, holding off Carissa Schweitzer. We'll have a few minutes here to let the women regroup, and if Jerry allows us the honor, we'll get a mixed 4x400 meter relay to end the night. I think Marielle is still trying to figure out where she's even supposed to start from. As you see, the 4 teams, and again, all wearing a different kit from previous seasons.
Oh my God, this is great.
I was like, who's my
Guys, I can't wait to have it.
So if you're writing slips down so I don't have to like remember them.
Shalane, who do you have winning?
Huh?
Who do you have winning?
I'm going with who I'm representing right here. This is the 2017 team.
Who's all
I
on
think
it?
that's I know Jager's on it. That's all I know. I'm going with that team.
Did you guys put any money on the line?
Gwen suggested $5, but I don't know if anyone.
We upped it to 20, I think.
20?
That's what Lopez just said.
It's fine by me.
All right, ready? Lane 1.
You don't get to call your lane.
Very important.
Lead off leg. Lead off leg.
That's why I told things 1,000 times.
What? You gotta go up high. Like this.
Lead off legs. Make sure you line up in the lane of your aim. We're not sprinters. We're all you have to think about.
You look for the swoosh.
This is fun.
That's what it is. You look for the swoosh.
Are you third leg?
Are you third leg?
Hell
Oh,
yeah. Ask Gary where they go.
Colleen, what are your thoughts before the race?
I think we have a pretty solid team. I think we're mixing it up compared to what the other people have chosen versus, you know, like which sexes go in which position. So we're gonna make it a little spicy. I'm excited.
What number are the girls going? Oh my God, Marielle's going first!
Marielle, you got this. You got the best.
So interesting. Marielle's up against the guys.
Yeah, she's going to be leading off against 3 other men, Mark, Evan, and Mo, for this first leg. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And again, the group that Mark is in has 3 men. So he'll hand off to Chris Derrick, and then Gwen Jorgensen and Lopez Lamong. But ready for the start. Let's see what happens. Mixed 4x400 meter relay.
Do you have a favorite kit?
Do I have a favorite kit? I think the one that they did most recently in 2019 with they as you mentioned, I think the heat lightning motif is probably my favorite.
I would have thought it would be the Olympic kit, but I give you credit. I guess the intention of the question was BTC.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Well, a good race here at the front. Again, Mariel Hall, the only female runner on the track on this first leg, so they'll get the benefit of having at least 2 more legs from men in their quartet. But Mark Scott will give the handoff to Chris Derrick, and then Courtney Frericks and Ryan Hill, and now Mariel Hall will try to get into the hands of Woody Kincaid, and he'll try to make up some ground here.
Good, really pulling out their sprinting form on this one. Oh!
Yeah, Ryan Hill, and how about
Who's in front?
Courtney Frericks staying with Chris Derrick here. That's Ryan Hill out in front for the 2015 squad. And he will hand off to Colleen Quigley. Gwen Jorgensen is next up on the assist from Derrick.
Woody's closing the gap, and Courtney's staying with Chris.
Courtney's done a phenomenal job on this leg. She'll hand off to Elise Cranny. And, oh, don't forget about who's in 4th position right now. Shelby Houlihan is now the hunter.
This is the split that we need to get. Shelby's split on this.
Shelby's living for this moment right
my
now
gosh.
too.
Oh.
To get to start behind and have to chase everyone down. This is
It's the best feeling.
So Colleen Quigley with a half lap to run.
Colleen looks great out there.
Yeah,
wow.
she really does. Cranny, Jorgensen, and now here comes Houlihan. She's put another gear and is now well past Jorgensen and trying to reel in Elise Cranny. But look at Colleen Quigley and the advantage she has as she will hand off to Carissa Schweitzer, winner of that 1,500 meters to start the evening. Cranny and Houlihan and Jorgensen, but it's the last 3 men now getting the baton, and a distance of about 30 meters or so for Grant Fisher to try to chase down Carissa Schweitzer.
Oh, this is going to be exciting.
This is great. And Carissa has the more recent 600 in her legs.
You can see from the look now straight down the backstretch, Fisher and McGorty. But I don't think they've made up half the distance with a half lap to go. Let's see if Schweitzer can hold on as the guys now start to try to reel her in. McGorty now challenging for second.
Oh my gosh.
Look at Sean just chew up ground with that long stride.
Schweitzer and McGorty. And Fisher isn't out of it yet. McGorty and Fisher. And it will be Fisher across the line to win it. McGorty second, and Schweitzer held on for as long as she could, but will wind up in third. That, my friends, is why this is the right event to add to the Olympic schedule.
I cannot wait for this event in the Olympics.
And look at this replay again. McGorty, thinks he's got Schweitzer. Maybe he thought he had zoomed past Fisher. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. When you go past someone, go past with them by, authority and try to put them in your rearview mirror. But Fisher responded, bided his time, and wins the race.
All within a second.
Yeah.
For the top three.
Yeah, I got to give it to Jerry. Amazing job of putting even teams together, because with athletes ranging from 1,500 meters to marathon, how do you begin to put together even squads? And so to have three teams within a second of each other in a race where there was at times big gaps is pretty impressive.
And what, now do we have like a major online special of 2017 BTC gear? There should have been like some sort of spiff program here.
Some sort of promo.
Yeah.
No, that would have been good.
Let's go.